CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with a historic policy shift in Ottawa. The Prime Minister called the situation in Gaza intolerable today, announcing Canada will join two other Western allies in recognizing a Palestinian state this September. However, as Abigail Beeman reports, that comes with conditions.
Following similar stances by the UK and France.
Canada intends to recognize the state of Palestine at the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly in September 2025.
That intention, the Prime Minister says, is based on the Palestinian Authority's commitment to reforms, including holding general elections in 2026, where Hamas plays no part.
It's not going to change the conflict on the ground as we speak. There's no question of that. It's a message to the government of Israel.
I can tell you that something in the trust is breaking right now. When Canada is taking a move, well knowing that Israel will not accept this, will reject it.
Israel rejects the message, not trusting the Palestinian Authority to follow through.
Hamas feels emboldened today. Hamas is rewarded today for the 7th of October atrocities.
On the ground in Gaza, at least 46 people were killed today, most in crowds trying to get food. The United Nations World Food Program says it could officially declare a famine in the Gaza Strip. Israel says it's constantly improving aid delivery.
This decision is more than symbolic. It is a small step in the right direction and the recognition that sovereignty is essential to the survival and dignity of all people.
A senior government official tells CTV News today's decision is also about Canada intending to play a bigger role in the Mideast peace process going forward and, quote, try and be more useful. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
No change today to the Bank of Canada's key interest rate, holding it steady at 2.75%. As Rachel Aiello reports, when it does change one direction or the other, it'll be once there's more clarity on the trade war with the U.S.
Uncertainty over the future of the Canada-U.S. trade war is clouding the economic outlook in this country, prompting the central bank to again hold its key interest rate at 2.75%.
Growth in spending by Canadian businesses and households is being restrained by uncertainty, and new U.S. tariffs are having profound impacts on directly affected sectors.
Today, this country's top banker said future inflation projections hinge on the outcome of the ongoing cross-border trade talks.
The tariffs have a permanent effect on the economy unless they're removed.
The decision was widely forecasted by the big banks, but came as a shock to Ontario Premier Doug Ford. He said staring down the economic uncertainty, it's never been more important to stimulate growth, and called on the central bank to cut interest rates now.
How would you respond to that?
Look, we take our decisions independently of the political process. We are going to make sure that a tariff problem does not become an inflation problem.
That tariff problem only growing today, with U.S. President Donald Trump announcing 50% tariffs on certain copper imports, citing national security. The sudden announcement adding to the pressure Prime Minister Mark Carney and his cabinet are facing. With the clock ticking and no new trade pact in sight, economists say there's a lot riding on Canada getting a good deal.
That's why I think, you're seeing Canada sort of running the clock.
Though Trump's envoy to Canada still thinks there's a chance of an agreement by Friday.
It's Wednesday today, so you've got at least 48 hours and maybe up to 72 hours, but a lot of things happen at a close of a negotiation.
That time for Canadian companies like Algoma Steel is of the essence. Today, the company suspended its dividend after posting major losses, saying tariffs played a large part. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
One of the most common complaints at City Hall, speeding drivers cutting through residential neighborhoods. Usually it's frustrated residents airing their grievances, but as Daryl Newcomb reports, two city councillors are now asking why more isn't being done.
They just gun it straight down here. father to a special needs child. Andrew Roberts is terrified about the dangerous driving behaviors he witnesses in front of his home on Waterloo Street in Soho. He blames the cut-through traffic on drivers avoiding the construction and congestion along Wellington and Horton.
Cutting through residential areas at excessive speeds because of the backlog of bottlenecking with the traffic.
And this sign prohibiting trucks hasn't prevented drivers from using this residential street to access nearby commercial businesses as well as construction sites.
Come on. I think the city needs to wake up and realize that this is a bigger issue. It's not just me, it's not just one neighbor.
If the concerns being raised by residents along this stretch of Waterloo Street sound familiar, it's probably because City Hall is receiving complaints from neighborhoods right across the city about drivers' bad behavior. Earlier this month at City Hall, a discussion by the Infrastructure and Corporate Services Committee about a request for another school crossing guard in Old South emphasized the citywide scope of the problem and need for a more effective deterrent.
We shouldn't be surprised that the cut-through traffic is getting worse and worse and worse.
It's an issue of people speeding, which it seems to be, and careless driving.
Councillor Hadley McAllister expressed hope that the reconstituted traffic division at the London Police Service will help curb some of the behaviour.
I hope also LPS is listening, takes that on board. We obviously need those traffic infractions dealt with.
I would love for the police to do an enforcement blitz, targeting, commercial vehicles and excessive speed, especially down in the Soho neighborhoods.
This week, Soho's ward councillor David Ferreira sent a letter to Civic Administration looking for solutions to several of the safety concerns being raised. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
London police say a late-night crash sent 4 people to hospital, one of them with life-threatening injuries. Police say it happened just before midnight at Highbury and Huron Street. 2 vehicles were involved, closing down the intersection in all directions for the police investigation. According to emergency officials, the 3 other people taken to hospital have serious injuries that are not life-threatening. A new village of tiny homes is coming to the Parkwood campus in South London. 25 structures will be built specifically for local veterans experiencing homelessness. With more on the project, here's Brian Bicknell.
For those who served, the return to civilian life is not always easy, according to Jamie Hackland.
A lot of fellows come away from their service with many problems, and so I suppose that has a lot to do with it.
The Canadian Navy veteran and resident of the Parkwood Veterans Care Program was in the crowd when plans for a new veterans village were unveiled. The initiative aims to support the estimated 200 veterans in London and the surrounding areas who are living on the streets.
This project is for you. Sorry. You have served our country, and now it's our time to serve you with care, with dignity, and with lasting support.
The village will be right here on the grounds of Parkwood. 25 tiny homes, the lives of 25 veterans made better by the supports close at hand. The village will house a resource center, community gardens, and recreational area. Each home is 300 square feet and fully furnished.
And more importantly, it's a community. And it's right here on Parkwood, where historically the veterans have been looked after.
Add some structure to their life, assign a social worker to a caseworker to rebuild that citizen. So filling in those gaps.
More than 2/3 of the $4 million project has been funded by all 3 levels of government. Private contributions are being sought to cover the balance. Construction begins this year with an opening date set for next spring.
Some of these veterans can be stubborn, and hopefully you can get the place filled up, and a lot of guys will have a better quality of life because of it.
Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
Provincial police say they've reopened eastbound lanes of the 402 in Sarnia. They shut the highway down Monday because of heaving pavement near Waterworks Side Road. Lambton OPP detoured traffic between Airport Road and Mondawmin Road. The spot was just a short distance from where the highway buckled under extreme heat last month. A London psychologist has had her certification and license revoked after 3 serious misconduct incidents. Ontario's College of Psychologists and Behaviour Analysts held a disciplinary hearing today for Tatiana Zedeb. She operated a mental health support service for years on Warncliffe Road South, and she has pleaded guilty to illegally administering drugs like ketamine, as well as having a sexual relationship with another. She also called herself a doctor while never obtaining a PhD. Her lawyer told the hearing Zedeb is remorseful. An Ontario court has partially overturned a decision to dock a Chatham-Kent councillor's pay over social media posts. Travis Fortnum has more on the ruling and the reaction.
After nearly 2 years of political drama, Chatham-Kent councillor Rhonda Jubenville is celebrating, at least in part, a win.
I'm very happy. I'm pleased with the decision.
The decision she is talking about comes from a panel of Ontario judges who overturned part of a report that led to her being suspended without pay back in 2023. Chatham-Kent's Integrity Commissioner found Jubenville breached council's code of conduct over a failed motion to limit which flags fly at municipal buildings, a motion she says was misunderstood.
In my opinion, I feel like my motion was hijacked, and some people felt that I was targeting them, but that was never the intention.
After the motion was defeated, Jubenville made a series of social media posts, which the commissioner ruled were inappropriate and warranted a 3-month pay suspension. But those judges have now overturned part of that finding, ruling it was unreasonable to say councillors can't keep advocating after a vote or speak out on issues beyond council's control, though a separate finding still stands, that some posts crossed a line into abuse or intimidation.
I would have been happy if I was completely exonerated, I guess you could say, but I think it's a positive direction where the outcome will go.
The court set aside council's decision and sent the matter back to the Integrity Commissioner, who will now decide if a penalty is still warranted.
The code of conduct needs to be precise.
Governance expert Richard LeBlanc says the case should prompt municipalities to tighten up their policies.
The clarity of the code and the process are very important, because as an Integrity Commissioner, you really want to bulletproof yourself.
Jubenville tells CTV News Chatham-Kent's code has already been updated since this all began as part of a regularly mandated review.
I'm just glad that I can work together with my colleagues on council, and I'm hopeful that we can put this behind us and work together and on things that are important in Chatham-Kent.
The municipality says it won't comment until legal counsel has reviewed the decision and did not provide a response by deadline.
Travis Fortnum, CTV News.
Londoners have 6 new locations to recycle household batteries.
So we're very happy today to announce that our program is officially expanding across the City of London with more accessible drop-off locations and greater public education awareness efforts to let everyone know that batteries don't belong in the trash and they need to be recycled responsibly.
The city has partnered with Call to Recycle Canada, setting up battery recycling canisters inside 6 city locations. They include East Lyons and South London community centres, along with the Central Library branch and Storybook Gardens. Officials say the program comes at no cost to taxpayers. A local service club is sponsoring rides and attractions for kids at this year's Western Fair. The Forest City London Kiwanis Club presented a $10,000 check to the Western Fair District this afternoon. Officials say the money will fund a new Kiddieland space next to the popular barn attraction.
We look at the Western Fair as London's largest community celebration. We're fast approaching our 150th edition of the fair, and this type of sponsorship really helps us make sure that we get there.
You know, our whole motto in Kiwanis is one child, one village at a time around the world. And we want to make sure that we nurture toddler stage and through. This would be a great event for them to learn to engage their brain in ways that are going to make them and fulfill them as they grow older. And have some fun, have some excitement, because there's no better way to learn than having a laugh.
A local fastball team is in Saskatoon right now, competing for a national championship. As Brent Lale reports, it's a version of baseball that's enjoying a bit of a revival.
Once a fixture in every rural southwestern Ontario town, fastball
is making a comeback.
5 years ago, a bunch of fastball dads said, you know what, we need to revive this sport for the kids again.
In Fingal, just southwest of London, they've slowly brought the game back, going from 0 youth teams to 5.
We get to play our home games on Thursday nights, and there's a lot of kids that come out and watch us in Fingal jerseys. So it feels cool to be a role model for them, and also to bring fastball back to these rural communities, like to represent Southwold and also the municipality of West Elgin and everywhere else.
It feels great to see the sport coming back. Like, there's, all the young kids playing here in Fingal now, which I haven't seen in a long time. For the longest time, we were the youngest age group playing fastball. And it's just really nice to see that it's coming back finally now.
For anyone who hasn't watched this game at the highest level, it's a game of speed and power.
It'll be a very fast game compared to what you're thinking of with the MLB. Everything's so much closer and smaller. And, it's just, in my opinion, it's faster and more entertaining to watch.
The U20 group, which started the revival 5 years ago, has qualified for the national championship. They are currently in Saskatoon.
I like the young attitude they have. They come to the park every day trying to win ball games, but they're also learning at the same time. They listen well. They're not afraid to try some adventurous things, and sometimes you got to rein them back in. But this group loves the game as much as the coaches do, and it's kind of fun. It's a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and they're pretty pumped.
Brent Lale, CTV News.
Still ahead, one of the strongest earthquakes ever recorded. The Pan-Pacific warnings issued over tsunami fears from Japan to British Columbia. Checking today's market numbers. In Toronto, the TSX dropped 169 points. Mixed results in New York as the Dow fell 171. The Nasdaq gained 31. The Canadian dollar down 1/5 cent. On commodities, gold lost 28.40 an ounce and oil added 79 cents a barrel. In Washington today, Democrats invoked a century-old rule, an attempt at forcing the release of the Jeffrey Epstein files. As Joy Malbon reports, the president is still trying to turn the page on this scandal.
President Donald Trump may want to move on from the constant questions about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein.
We've had a great weekend.
But Senate Democrats have found a new weapon, using a century-old federal law to compel the administration to release everything they have on Epstein by next month.
If there's nothing to hide, why all the evasiveness? Trump should stop hiding from the truth. He should stop hiding from the American people. So today, Senate Democrats took action.
The president shared new details last night about what triggered his break with Epstein, saying he stole his workers, including Virginia Giuffre, who worked at Trump's Mar-a-Lago resort.
I think she worked at the spa. I think so. I think that was one of the people. Yeah. He stole her. And by the way, she had no complaints about us, as you know.
Giuffre fought for herself and other Epstein victims, settling out of court against Prince Andrew in 2022 and testifying against Ghislaine Maxwell, who recruited her as a teenager to have sex with powerful men. She killed herself last April. Trump's former personal lawyer interviewed Maxwell last week, serving 20 years in jail for her crimes. She wants out, offering to testify, but only if she's granted immunity. The lawyer representing Epstein's victims says Maxwell knows a lot.
We got, during the discovery process, phone logs, message pads that were seized by police during that investigation. It showed numerous people calling the homes, trying to make appointments for massages and to have them send over girls.
Spencer Kuvin says all the president needs to do is sign an executive order and release the files.
And President Trump has not ruled out a pardon for Maxwell, but says no one has asked him yet. Joy Malbon, CTV News, Washington.
Normally we're showing you some cute dogs, but what about a pig walking forecast? Thanks, Melissa, for sending this one in. This is Hamlin. He's enjoying some watermelon. If you are heading out for a walk with Hamlin tomorrow morning, we're expecting a bit of light rainfall, so some muddy conditions. Perhaps Hamlin likes the mud. 15 degrees first thing in the morning, winds out of the northeast. Showers easing off by about 11 o'clock. Chance for rainfall drops as we head into the afternoon, and we're back into a mix of sun and cloud. We're setting the stage for a beautiful holiday weekend. Stay with us. I'll have that forecast coming up right after this.
Welcome back on the desk with Julie Atchison now. And I know there wasn't a big chance for rain today, but it did rain because I can confirm this afternoon I got caught in the rain when I was out for my afternoon run.
Forecast
Sounds
verified.
like I was just unlucky.
Yeah, well, we did have a 30% chance of rain. We had a few pop-up showers. We even had some thunderstorms moving through parts of the area, but not everyone picked up the rain, although we do need it. We have some rain in the forecast overnight and some rain on the way tomorrow morning. Our high today hit 29 degrees. Our low temperature is 17. So comparing that with what's normal, still coming in above. A normal daytime high for this time of year at 26 degrees. Conditions overnight, light rainfall, cloudy, 15 to 17 degrees. So temperatures a bit cooler tonight than they were last night, but not a big drop off. As we head towards the lake, 17 to 18 degrees near Lake Huron and 18 to 20 near Lake Erie. So tonight we have a stalled frontal boundary off to the south and a wave of low pressure that's riding along that boundary. That'll come through overnight. This patch of rainfall pushes across the area. Rainfall amounts generally under 5 millimeters. This is not a big rain, but we could have a few heavier pockets in there. Sprawling high pressure building in behind it, but that brings in a northerly flow. We'll talk about that in just a second. Let's go out 48 hours. You can see the rainfall coming through overnight. First thing in the morning, the heaviest rain will be along the northern shoreline of Lake Erie. That rain will push off as we head into the afternoon. Skies will become a mix of sun and cloud through Grey and Bruce County, and then becoming mainly sunny across the area before sunset. Clear conditions heading into your Friday, and a beauty day is setting up as we kick off the holiday weekend with some gorgeous weather setting up across southern Ontario. So in London for your Thursday, light rain to start the day, 19 degrees by lunchtime and the high 26. Winds out of the northeast, 20 with gusts to 40. Now, forest fire smoke has settled into northern Ontario, prompting air quality advisories and special weather statements. A special weather statement issued in and around the Bruce Peninsula, including Wyerton, talking about the potential for localized smoke heading into tomorrow. So please be aware of that. And you can see the heavier concentration just off to the north and also spreading now into central Quebec. Lots of sunshine, as I mentioned, for the weekend. It's looking beautiful. Saturday, Sunday, and into Monday, daytime highs anywhere from 26 to 28. Note the overnight lows. We have some nice, cool conditions through the overnight. This is great weather to open up the windows. As we head into August, normally we're talking about sweltering heat, but that won't be the case. This is a big pattern shift. We've had some cooler air in Western Canada, and as that big area of high pressure slides over the Great Lakes Basin, it'll draw in that cool, dry air, low humidity, and really just a spectacular forecast. As we head into early next week, we'll hold on to the gorgeous conditions, 27 to 28 degrees, and the overnight lows starting to creep up just a bit. Here on Perth, you'll start the day with a few showers. Grey Bruce, just mainly cloudy first thing in the morning, but nice breaks. Localized smoke, especially through areas of northern Grey and Bruce. We could see some of that forest fire smoke filter down areas to northern Huron and Perth County. So keeping an eye on air quality. If you are sensitive or you're elderly or very young, people most affected by the air quality, just take it easy outside. Friday through Monday, sunshine to a mix of sun and cloud, 25 to 27 degrees and nice cool overnight lows. Carlyle, back to you.
Thank you, Julie. One of the strongest earthquakes ever recorded sent millions of people scrambling for higher ground over fears of a tsunami. The quake struck last night in far eastern Russia, triggering warnings all around the Pacific, including British Columbia. Andrew Johnson reports.
In Russia, they scrambled out of crumbling buildings, held on for dear life, and at the hospital, surgery became a struggle. Within hours, one of the largest earthquakes in modern history triggered tsunami alerts in more than 20 countries.
It's almost impossible to describe just how large an earthquake of this magnitude is.
In Japan, millions of people were told to evacuate to higher ground. Some were seen moving to the top of tall buildings. Honolulu was in gridlock as people raced to get away from the coast.
It's an easy thing. Get away from the beaches, get inland, and get upward.
On Canada's west coast, beaches were closed, and there was a lot of uncertainty during a 13-hour tsunami advisory, warning of strong waves and potential flooding.
Those long-standing incidents where, you're half a day going, is there something coming? Is it going to be okay? Are certainly unsettling, and we heard that from a lot of people in our community.
In Port Alberni on Vancouver Island, that concern is rooted in the memory of what happened in 1964 when a tsunami caused widespread destruction.
We really try to keep it top of mind for people, not so that they're worried all the time, but so that, if we do have an incident and we have to evacuate a portion of our community in the middle of the night, we're ready and able to do that.
The Premier says the provincial alert system worked as expected.
The province, local governments, regional districts all work together to ensure people are safe. It was a good trial run for us. So if we do see a major event in the future, we know we have a system that should work to deliver that warning.
Experts are calling this a wake-up call for people to think about their personal preparedness in a province overdue for a major earthquake and potential tsunami much closer to home. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
Welcome back. Finally tonight, an Alberta artist who just got back from a trip overseas. He was in England to see one of his works of art displayed at a high-profile exhibit. As Kevin Fleming reports, he's no professional, but that might soon change.
He's a retired geologist, but has painted all his life. Now Stephen Bend has more time to explore his abstract art. But what he learned as a 4-year-old has stuck with him.
It was my aunt who corrected how I would hold the pencil, hold the paintbrush. And I remember telling me, you've got to load your paintbrush. And she even taught me how to put 2 or 3 colors on one paintbrush.
Ben submitted this piece that he painted for his wife Phyllis called Passion Ascending. He did it in secret over 5 months and says it's a celebration of their love and passion and being together for almost 46 years.
I had one interesting interaction with one of the curators, the lady, who said that, this was one piece that really spoke to her.
The whole adventure was sparked by his son, Christopher, who pushed Stephen to submit some of his work and share it with a larger audience than just family and friends.
He was producing such a quantity of high-quality works that it was a shame to just have them sitting around the house. And so it originally started with just me sending him a few galleries on Instagram, really small ones, castings for artists.
Ben says he was filled with emotion when he learned his painting had been accepted into the London Art Biennale 2025.
The curators stated that they had 10,000 submissions and that their basic criteria was that all the pieces were going to be of museum quality, which means that, they perhaps belong in a gallery in some way. So that was intimidating, and that held me back from submitting, and it was, again, because of Chris pushing and pushing and pushing.
Now Ben says he enjoyed attending the opening event in London so much that he's working on a piece to submit for next year's Biennale in Italy. Kevin Fleming, CTV News, Canmore.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For all of us at CTV News London, I'm Carlyle Fiset. Have a good night.